explain.
All right, are you ready?
That's boring.
Here you go, Mike.
You gotta move the camera that way, I don't move back.
That's obvious.
That's a big institute.
Page.
Here.
Cummings, yes. Rapp,
Yes.
Really Focus.
Present. Is there anyone out comment right now? I was just asking for public comment. So let's be just hanging with. All right, we go down to the consent agenda. And you have in front of you your December 12th minutes, the treasurer's report, investment recommendations and approval of reports. Was there any questions? If not, take one motion to pass.
I just, did you reach out to Busey by any chance?
I sent her an email.
Okay.
She never responded.
Okay.
So, yeah, and I let her know about February's meeting.
Okay.
So we gave them plenty of time.
Okay.
To get the rates to us, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Is there any other questions on? Make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Page.
Yes.
Sally. Yes. Peter.
Yes.
Wolfersberger.
Yes.
Cummings. Yes. Rapp.
Yes.
6-0.
Do we need to, it's just on the agenda, do we need to do this resolution or what do we need to do with this?
No, you did already do that.
Oh, that's right. That was just a copy. Excellent. How you doing?
You're fine. You gave the authority to pass resolution.
Slow. As far as new business in your package, you have the accepting bid for tree clearing. Is Nicholas here to walk us through that, or
Sure.
are you here for something else?
No, I'm here for that.
Okay,
I can,
I thought that's what you're here for, but I shouldn't assume, so. I'll turn it over to Nicholas for, thank you, Debbie. You're welcome.
so, you might be somewhat familiar with it, but we put out an RFP last month to basically remove trees and brush out of the Oxbow Channel, and this is kind of piggybacking off of the high school storm sewer project. And we're adding some of those funds. So, we opened bids last Thursday, I believe it was. We had 2 contractors that submitted a bid. My understanding is the village has about $50,000 allocated for that project. So based on how we broke up the bid form and talking with Joe about this, our recommendation would be use that $50,000 to clear the trees north of Route 150, and then we'll have some extra funds within our budget that we could take some of the trees out south of 150 within the Oxbow Channel. So working with the conservation district on that, they've been very helpful, and they'll be on site when they're taking the trees out, helping to direct the contractor. So that was our recommendation. If there's any questions on that.
Pretty good. Distinguish between the north and south of 150, or just want it approved as a whole and then we fund it?
So based on the language there, we would be approving everything north of 150, and then with the money left over, that difference, and I don't know what it is offhand, but I think it's a few $1,000s. We could identify, you know, if there's large trees or something south of 150 that we want to target to use that money, just kind of work with the contractor on how far we can get, basically.
I mean, it's just got the total of north and south. That's what, when you were talking about distinguishing between the two, that's what, how you gonna,
So just approving the first two lines.
Right, it would be tree clearing and removal north of 150, and then the seeding restoration north of 150. And then the remaining money would be kind of determined in the field, I guess, basically.
This has to do with with the school football field thing.
Yeah.
So are they pitching in any money on this?
This is, the billing will be split between the high school,
So the 50,000 would be
Yes.
25,000 each.
yeah, so JT's, I'll, tell them that they should send, split invoices, basically, like what's the due for that, well, construction of the, tile that we're putting in.
And they plan on moving forward, I think, next Monday, basically, weather permitting, and they'll be done by the end of the month.
To clarify your question on the south, so Nicholas and our contact with the Soil and Water District went and walked this, and Mud had fun doing that, and they spray painted everything. And with the Soil and Water District's help, they'll identify the critical on the south part and try to knock those out. That's a priority, so we're gonna coordinate that with them, make sure we get the big stuff as funds allow.
now, are they just gonna remove it and dispose of it, or
Well,
gonna take some of that down the burn, or what?
they're going to try to tie off as much as they can to reduce on cost.
Mhm.
So the wetlands, you can tie off that and it can deteriorate over time and it can work as it was always tile. You can tie it off to other trees, you can, how, you wanna speak? to
Yeah,
that?
basically, you would just pile it up.
We'll just leave it burn
Near
off.
trees, and then make sure that, so if it does flood, you just don't want it going back in the channel, so
Okay.
you can fasten the other trees.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? So basically, we would decide between the three bids here, or the three different options. Option one, doing nothing. Option two, accepting the bid. Proceed with it as described in the RFP, or option number three is what you've kind of recommended to do. For the not to exceed $50,000.
That was no brainer, number three, isn't it?
That would be,
I'll make a motion to accept number three.
Second. Who was second, Terry? Valley? Yes. Painter?
Yes.
Wolfersberger?
Yes.
Cummings? Yes. Ramp?
Yes.
Page? Yes. 6-0.
This one, let's hear for that, and that one, you can take it off this one.
I'm gonna skip around on our agenda here and move on down to old business, and so Nicholas can talk to us about that, about the electrical and gas wastewater. So,
Yes, I was here, well, yes, I was here virtually at the last meeting, and there was some questions that came up about that, so I wanted to be here this month to kind of clarify some things and see if there's anything else I can answer on that. But I did check into that a little bit, checking with the mechanical engineering team. And my understanding is that it's kind of a, I guess, standard on their end to design heating systems around gas units, just because that's tends to be more efficient, I guess, energy wise on what the dollar per energy unit is to heat electric versus gas. And we could look at it a little bit more if we knew exactly what the rates would be, but assuming average rates, the $5,000 payoff was like 1 year on a gas unit versus an electric unit. So, and the other thing to consider, all the equipment's been, I mean, the contractors and the shot drawings and equipment on that several months ago. So I'm assuming it's kind of in the works on his end, so there'd be some complexities if we switched from electric or from gas heat to electric heat.
Are you talking about the heat of the buildings or what?
Yes.
Just, okay,
We had mentioned if we were gonna go with solar, we should stick with all.
I think part of the issue was the solar discussion came up after we, gone down the path on the treatment plant side, so.
I don't see anything with having the gas out there tonight, before you've already got it out there, if you need to go ahead and change something, instead of being locked into one thing.
Is it more expensive to have both?
You have to add service. That's what prompted the conversation, is that we're adding. Yeah, it's okay, no, yeah, so if you go back to the previous packet, there's some email conversations from Nicole and somebody from Ameren. That kind of outlines a little bit of it, but yeah, we have ad service out there, and it's more than what we budgeted this fiscal year. And I just wanted to bring it up and make sure you all were aware of that.
Then was there a possibility though that the fees will possibly waive or that or not?
I wouldn't know on the gas side. On the electric side, I thought we'd always get away, but I guess I would. They usually bring them way down because of, they are gonna supply with service, but. I thought that none of our customers ever pay that, but I guess they have to pay something.
That's what we do get a reduction, but I think just because we are expanding it so much that it's just, the cost exceeds what.
Is there gonna be a generator out there?
Yes.
So it would have been needed gas anyway, one way or another.
Well, right, there's an existing generator with a fuel tank out there, but it's a diesel generator.
Okay.
But in the future, it'd give you the option to put in a gas generator.
Where is the gas line running down the slab, or is it a possibility where you're gonna cut across that field? That could that be put in conjunction with that?
The existing gas main is over on Water Street. And so the $5,000 would take it from the entrance at Water Street down the on the north side of the wastewater treatment plant road.
Okay,
And
parallel
we have
to
to
the
go
road,
with that. Yes.
parallel to the road, okay.
So is there anything that we need to do tonight with that, or is this basically an update?
So,
Thanks.
thanks.
Have a good rest of your evening.
You too.
Right, I'm going to, let's see, where am I at here? Okay, actually, since he wasn't here during the public comment, we'll go ahead and jump back up to public comment. Did you sign in and everything then?
I did, yeah.
Okay, very good. Well, I will let next do his introductions and we'll let him have his opportunity for public comment.
Well, as I explained this to my buddy John, and he was, I don't know if you have a skill or what you're, or it's gonna answer questions.
I was gonna be very candid with this,
Okay.
so, I'm prepared to do anything from just answer questions, basic, break it down to minutia, if anyone would like to give a rough proposal of what the situation would be, or all of the above. So however far down this rabbit hole you'd like to take it tonight, I'm prepared.
What's the timing on this? Like, do we have like 3 hours or? do we have a time limit, or?
And if you need to do other business before I speak to allow more time, if you'd like to allocate that, I'm more than happy to wait. That's not an issue. I don't have time.
It's usually helpful if you have materials to review, that everybody can take it and read it and come up with questions and stuff, so that's usually helpful.
Sure.
Or then if you have like a high level overview, then they can come up with questions.
That's exactly what we're
Or
on.
if they wanna go into it, they can too, but I'm just offering that as a.
Because normally in public comment, we have like 5 minutes, but
Gotcha.
that I don't think would give us enough time to really dig into what we need to really thoroughly go over it. And so, if you want to give us like a brief rundown of what you have, and I think it would be real helpful. Yes, if you could put together some stuff that we could read over and touch and read and look at, and then gives us an opportunity to put together some questions that hopefully you could come back and set up a time with Joe, and like I said, if you want to do the official RFP, you could work with Joe to get that put together and have that brought to us ahead of time, so we have time to review everything.
Absolutely. Then I will just give out the basic information I brought this evening. First and foremost, this is somewhat of an informal proposal, not a binding contract, obviously, of what we'd really be looking at as solar costs for the array.
Can I ask you a question while you're walking around?
Absolutely.
Any word on when the incentives are gonna end?
Which incentives are you
Like
talking about?
the government,
So
Give us money
the
back.
30% federal tax rebate stops being a 30% federal tax rebate in 2035. It starts dropping percentage wise after that. If you're referring to that's correct, the solar renewable energy credits, those are updated every year. In fact, I'm about to get to that here in a moment. The 2023/2024 funding is what's on this estimate for the calculator. The solar renewable energy credit from Carbon Solutions Group. Currently the only public vendor that processes your SREC rebate. Those funds have already been exhausted in 2023, 2024. So the numbers on this may change. They get tweaked slightly every year. So that might not be down to the penny. They may change it for right now. I believe that the size of this system would be $53.39 on here. I think it's probably would be reasonable to say it might go down to like $52. Would it, do I expect it to be something like $26? Absolutely not. Not anytime soon, but those are slowly, as this becomes more and more popular and there's less and less demand for renewable energy credits, those are going to be going down as time progresses. They've not given any sort of time frame as to when that program would end. I don't see it ending anytime soon. I see it weakening over time.
Another question, where you're passing things out, people bought, it's a public entity, where you've got a depreciation stuff on tax, what kind of an interest rate? Do you have any idea what we could get to build this, if we did it ourselves?
That would basically be dependent on what type of bonds that you can get or loans that you get as through so like a municipality or government. Right now for loans through banks, they're just gonna give you, whatever, like whatever prime rates are. I don't necessarily deal with those funding and that. I hate dealing with finance companies because they're not FDIC banks because they like to tack on in the solar world, generally about 25 to 30% of the price tag. So if I said your home was going to be $50,000, but I'm using Mosaic as my finance company, I have to tell you it's going to be $65,000. So when you finance it, then they give me a $50,000 check. I would recommend looking through municipalities, like the bonds and stuff that are available to the state or the loan system that they have in place, as well as the government. I'll be honest, I do not know the detail on that and how that process works. I apologize for this map. No matter how hard I tried to get it to darken up when I was printing it, the government website will not do anything darker than light paint. Yeah. There's two more here. This is very liquid. This is just a general idea about what we'd be talking about for size for the array in the field next to where the baseball field is, or I guess was. It would actually probably be better to have it closer to the building where the baseball field was, because that would be closer to the actual utility itself. But this is just a general idea of what we're talking about and the number of panels.
Did you restate that? So you're saying we should put it where the baseball diamond was?
Well, almost definitely, because wherever the meter is, you want to have it closer to the meter.
That's what we talked about. So I just want to make sure, because the ball diamond is out there for the most part, still got more work to do on it, but.
Yeah. That's one. So, I don't know where you all would like me to begin specifically, but, I'd say the first part of the proposal itself, probably the most important meat and potatoes of this. Generally speaking, we'd be putting on, frozen to install solar field that had 796 commercial size panels. They were 545 watts each. Field arrays, it would be a total of 4 megawatt system. If you look at the bar graph, the last page I gave you, based on the energy consumption, historical energy consumption that I figured out for the water treatment plant through Ameren, this would provide 104% of the energy offset of what the current consumption rate is for the annual electrical usage of the water treatment plant itself. Which would essentially mean that once this is up and running, with the net metering program that Ameren provides or has available, the excess energy that's created, you can see through April, May, June, July, August, September, and October, that excess energy gets banked on the grid at a 1-to-1 ratio. And then you're able to draw off of the grid at that 1-to-1 ratio. There's no delivery fees, there's no taxes, there's no anything that's considered to be your energy. Ameren plays the battery in the game. That basically turns the municipal's utility bill for the water treatment plant specifically to whatever the baseline is for connection and membership fees. I know the average household of that would be about $10.42 a month is what the utility bill is. Not counting gas, obviously you have gas connections and whatnot, but I don't know if it's different for for my business, for instance, I think it's $35 a month is what we have for between the membership fee and the meters. You can install and pay those every month to be connected to the grid. With those panels, you would create, it would be a 4 megawatt system. The amount of RECs, if we switch to the SREC page, that's the one that's carbon solution in the top corner. So it would create over the course of 15 years, because you basically, I guess I should backtrack a little bit. Solar renewable energy credits are completely arbitrary. Every megawatt that is created creates this arbitrary renewable energy credit that you can sell to companies that are trying to neutralize or lessen their carbon footprint for either tax purposes or PR, whatever they want to do. Right now, the going rate to sell one renewable energy credit, which is equal to 1 megawatt of clean energy that is generated, is for something this size would be $53.39. Like I said, that's likely to change. Probably historically speaking, it's going to go down slightly. They tweak it a little bit more every year. The funds for 2023, 2024 are exhausted. So they'll get refunded and reallocated in June. That clock resets itself. So whatever the new funding would be that. So even if we process the SREC rebate today, they're not going to do anything to it. It's going to be in a queue until June. You know, you go through. With this, your renewable energy credits will be paid over, I believe, 5 or 6 years and quarterly payments. You get a total after their fees at something this size. Their vendor fees alone would be $16,161.95. But they would hold a 5% collateral. You never see that if it comes out of the capital when they give it to you. But the total system payout after those fees would be $445,608.16. That's quite a bit of money over the course of time. At the end of the 15 years, the 5% held in collateral at $23,000 can come back to the city. I don't really add that in because that's literally going to be 15 years down the road. Who knows? We're all going to be in that one. As far as everything else, so since it's a municipality, you guys get 30% federal tax rebate. That's done through the Department of Treasury, I believe, not through the IRS, since you guys don't actually file for taxes, to my knowledge. So federal tax rebate, from what I'm asking, is $1,150,000, would be $345,000. So between the SREC rebate and the federal tax rebate, the long-term out of pocket for the village would be probably around $391.84. That being said, just by sheer chance of placement of the of where the water treatment plant is, I don't know how well anyone can see the map that is mostly pink. The water treatment plant falls just inside what's called the brownfield department, or the brownfield zoning. So there's a community solar tax credit for this. You get an extra 10% solar or tax rebate. I believe that is also open for municipalities, not just corporations that are just trying to get tax credits. It's literally, it starts literally on the street, just the street that's just north of basically the drive that's on the north side of the water treatment plant is the border for this. So everything south of that street falls under that again. So there'd be an extra 10%, I believe, you'd be able to qualify for that rebate. Also, if we're able to procure at least 40% of the materials, not including the steel. The steel that we use for the ground mount systems is from Unirak. It's all made in the United States. But 40% of the materials themselves, so the wiring, the panels themselves, the inverters, nuts and bolts, etc. Those would have to, if we can make 40% done in the United States, you get another 10% on top. Each of those 10% would be an additional $115,000 in rebate that you receive. If we can accomplish both of those, I believe the real out of pocket is just over $105,000.
So you're saying that total incentive money, without the Made in America, incentive is $905,000. And with it is $1,020,000. All those different incentives that you outlined added together.
I'm sorry. The total price tag would be $1,150,000.
The incentive, I'm talking about how much incentive money total is what I'm asking, so.
Got you.
Is
Yes.
that, so it's $445,608, $345,115,000 makes the $985,608.
Correct.
Okay, that's, and we were made to believe that it was about $150,000, so you're in that ballpark, so I just wanted to clarify.
Yes.
And then you're saying that the additional $115,000, if we do the Made in America, is it gets us to that $1,020,000 figure.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. That includes everything. That price tag is everything from the processing of the SREC rebate, which we do in-house, to the installation, which we also do in-house. There's something the size, and you can, I also put the, I think I grabbed it myself. There's the tax credit sheet from the government website that's on here. We would be doing the ITC, the internet, the tax credit, the blue part basically on top, the investment tax credit. For that, we'd be getting full rate. To accomplish that, all the labor has to be done at prevailing wages for the state of Illinois. I am very proud of how much I pay my workers. Everyone is well over prevailing wages. That won't be an issue. In fact, I am currently in the process of being registered through the state procurement website, because since I'm one of the few installers that does prevailing wages, they'd like me to start installing this for the state of Illinois. So, as far as everything else, I think it also has a breakdown of the time frames that we're looking at for this. As long as we're doing everything before the 2035 mark, those that 30% as well as those additional 10% just below would still hold fast. I would say whoever works for the accounting for the village would definitely want to double check to make sure that The additional 10% are available for nonprofit municipalities and government entities. Because most of the websites, just like to say, here's what the nonprofit taxes credits.
Which 10% is it, the one that you're referring to us?
We made.
Yes, exactly. Well, both Made in America and
We can clarify that what you said is right, we would get that.
perfect. Okay, because I was almost sure about that one, but I've never had anyone ask about the Made in America for nonprofits and municipalities. So that one I honestly haven't looked.
Does the 1.1 million for the solar panels, that includes labor, et cetera?
That's everything. That's all included, including warranties, workmanship, everything. We do a 10-year workmanship warranty. So if anything happens in the first 10 years, we fix it, replace it, whatever, it's no problem. Great. Maintenance for these is ridiculously minimal. Anyone who basically tells you there's a lot of maintenance on solar is trying to sell you something. And I mean, the easiest way to confirm that is you can go to Solar Field 1.0 and Solar Field 2.0 review by. They're completely public. They have people that staff that work there really more than happy to tell you all about it. The 1.0 is fixed arrays, which is what we do. And then 2.0 is the pivoting arrays, the ones that move with the sun. At our latitude, and the ULI will confirm this, there is no advantage to having moving parts. The moving arrays do not create any more energy. They have 2-year warranties on the parts that move, and they're just a world of maintenance. Fixed arrays are fixed at a 30-degree angle, sort of like a 812 pitch if anyone's familiar with roofing. That's ideal for our latitude to capture the most sun in the summer and still capture the most sun in the wintertime as well. There's no constant washing, fixing, repairing. There's no moving parts. Inverters will eventually wear out. The average lifespan of an inverter is about 13 years. That's changing dramatically, excuse me, and has been over the past 5 years. But that fact is still what you're going to find is a prevailing thing online. I'd say it all depends on which inverter that you guys use, as opposed to, you know, whether it's string inverters or micro inverters. For something this size, I'd probably say string inverters just for simplicity's sake, because each panel doesn't need to be individually monitored. Each circuit can be monitored because it's such an expansive thing. In that case, usually the lifespans of those are, I'd say, warranties usually 10 years. Lifespan probably 15. Replacement for one of those, from out of the box to taking the old one off, doing all the wiring, redoing that, for one is right now I'd say maybe $6,000 or $7,000. They're not that bad. They're pretty much plug and play, so it's very simple. It's not something that's very difficult or time consuming to do one of those if something does go out. Everything is monitored through Wi-Fi. If Wi-Fi is not available for that, for the area, then basically we usually just put in a hotspot. No, more or less just be like either like a hotspot. You can do it through Verizon, AT&T, whoever, but they'll basically just put Wi-Fi because it's not a lot of data that's transferring. So you just pay a small monthly payment to just have the Wi-Fi available for the monitors.
Who monitors that?
The village can, I do, and so does the inverter company. So whether it's GoodWe for the inverters or REC or AP systems, each company will monitor theirs on their own because that's how they get the warranties for them. You know, and also they have to be monitored, either self-monitored by the village or the easier route of having it on that Wi-Fi system for your fast track rebate. Because the vendor, in this case, Carbon Solutions Group, would have to monitor, and they start monitoring after year 3 to make sure that the energy production is where it should be. These numbers that we put in are always conservative, so they're more than taken care of. You know, you never have to worry about, like, are we really going to make those numbers? As long as everything's functional. If something's not functional, I get an email alert, the village will get an email alert, and I'm probably going to get a phone call from the inverter company saying, hey, check X, Y, or Z.
So at the end of 30, you're saying that these will work for 30 years, is that?
Average lifespan of, well, Warranty is for 30 years. They'll work much longer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Natural degradation of the panels is about for these are V-Suns, the ones I prefer to use. They have a 30-year linear electrical warranty. So after 30 years, they'll still have an 84.95% energy output of what they originally say.
what about insurance per year?
That is, I have not investigated that. That would be on the municipalities.
And then at the end of 30 years or whenever the solar panels are no longer useful, our decision point would be to dispose of them or to pay to get new ones.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's for both, yeah, obviously, well, you have to get rid of the old ones, put the new ones up. The racking, railing system, all that stuff can stay in the ground. I also do not use a drop of concrete on any of my ground mount systems. Everything is hammered into the ground. We basically use a large robot that uses GPS locating devices to make straight lines. And it will pound 15-foot posts about 7.5 feet in. They don't move. They're extremely sturdy, it's very precise. I can get you guys pictures if you want, similar ground mounts that we've done, just lineups and everything. It's clean, it's effective, and it doesn't put a whole bunch of,
If you talk about the posts, have you taken into consideration that's in a floodplain, or you gotta have bigger posts than that?
We can go up to 20-foot posts with that, in those situations, and that's a possibility. Generally, we just use a 15-foot. I have not done an environmental site survey, that would still need to be done. Also, what would have to be done if we decide to move forward with this, I would have to talk with the DNR and I believe, environmental protection to make sure that there's no habitat for endangered species or anything else like that, and make sure that we're aware of any wildlife that we want to, preserve habitat or watch out for.
I'm pretty sure we're good there with the sewer plant construction and all that. So
You think so? I'll accept.
sure, no, I don't blame you. No, I don't blame you.
Is the new plant more efficient than the old plant? No.
No, actually, that's what I was gonna tell you, is that we went at 104%, but I think that they were telling us when the guys left now that that's gonna use more energy. Because we may have to go a little bit better,
Okay.
but yeah.
Okay,
But I don't know if you based it off the numbers that we provided, they had already taken that into consideration.
It would have been the current plants.
Oh, it would have been correct.
Yeah.
Not.
But no, actually, we gave them projections.
I thought we did.
So these might be the projected.
Yeah, so we gave projections on what the new plant would be.
this, I'll be really candid here. Those numbers, the energy production numbers, I was given the size of the array from another
Right,
proposal you had.
Yeah.
And the percentage of energy offset that they claimed it would do. So I basically just did my backwards math to figure out how much that energy consumption is to figure that out.
So you should be on. Good to go then.
Yeah.
Now, that, one of the things, do we need to fence that in? Does that include that you fenced it in, or?
So you need that, you need to have that fenced in, well, depending on what, usually generally it's fenced in. That is not included in my fees, because that is all on the city on what they want, how high, et cetera, or even if it needs to be fenced in based upon, whatever the laws or ordinances here are for that. I don't know if that's even technically that location. And Google Maps, it says it's technically out of city limits anyway, so I'm not sure if that would run with the county or not. For ground mount, that's
Another thing you mentioned, you drive the post into the ground. I don't know if field tiles or anything, is that a big problem there, like we have in a farm field? What do you do underneath them? Because you're gonna have grass, or is that something, our dime to go ahead and maintain? You gotta put some out of fabric or rock or something?
you guys own it. So whatever you want to do under there is your business. I mean, right now, I'm assuming people mow it already, right? And they'll be able to mow it again. Like the panels, they look fairly close together, and they're more, those arrays are more than 15 feet apart from each other. Because you don't want the bottom panels and the back array to be covered, shaded by the top panels of the array in front of them in the winter time. So they are spaced appropriately on that. You're not gonna, somebody with a riding mower can easily go around one. The bottom of the panels in the front of the arrays are usually about 2.5 feet off the ground. It's very easy to get mowers, weed whackers, you know, et cetera up there. If you guys are interested in doing something like making more of a greenscape, I'm more than happy to provide enough wildflower seed to cover the whole area with, like just Midwest, wildflowers. For pollinator, if you want, then you don't have to worry about anything about mowing, and you have a giant pollinator area, if you like.
That's just what I like, a ragged too.
If you pull the rod, okay. I'm gonna do a vegan, so I'm very particular about that, but, yeah, we can, I'm more than happy to provide all that.
When you mentioned your inverters, you said one of them monitors individual panels, and what, like an inverter would monitor just sections of panels? If you had a problem, I mean, is that like finding the burnout light on your Christmas tree, or is it, how do you?
Yes and no. That's a really good question. So, I don't want to take up everybody else's time, but I can talk about this all night. There's micro inverters, which basically are smaller scale inverters. They connect to individual panels, or the ones I prefer connect to 2 to 4 panels, depending on it in single phase or 3 phase. So in that case, if it's connected, one inverter is connected to 2 panels. If one panel is not connected or goes out, we know exactly which panel located on which part of the array, and you can pinpoint it. When it's in string inverters, they're referred to as string inverters because basically the panels are strung together in a circuit, and those we're able to create a giant circuit with those. If one panel goes out, it's not like your Christmas lights, the old where the whole screen goes out on that circuit. It's they're still going to have the connectivity. It's just that one's going to be performing less. So a panel of these size, the amount of wattage that or voltage that goes through them is about 45 volts. So if we add 10 to them, we're already at 450. So we can't do more than, I think 12 is the most we can put in a string before we're maxing out the 600 volts. The electrician will probably tell you that goes along with connections to them. So they're basically strung up in strings of 12. If one goes out, we saw the production, but we'll notice basically an 8% drop in energy output through that circuit. And we're able to monitor each circuit individually through those inverters. So if something did happen, we'd say that's a problem. We'll go out there and then you just test them with a multimeter and see which one's voltage is low.
Can you repair an individual panel, or does it take it down and replace it with another?
Take it down and replace it with another. We got a 30-year warranty. I don't know about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another thing, you said the B-Sun panels, commercial grade. I mean, I've heard Panasonic and other brands. I mean, why do you prefer that?
V-Sun, I like them because if you look online, an average manufacturer warranty is usually around 10 years. They give a 12-year. In fact, I think they actually just raised it on their website. I probably should have brought that with me. I believe they raised it on their website that it may even be 20 years now. Aside from that, they have a linear electrical warranty that's 30 years. And their benchmarks blow everything else out of the water. If you're really looking at solar panels, the big thing you need to look for is tier 1 panels. Only 2% of all solar panels are considered to be into that tier 1 grouping. Things like the solar panel on a calculator or something that's going to be blue or red color, those are not tier 1. Those are, basically very simplistic. But tier 1 panels have to pass certain benchmarks, be from certain companies that have certain reliabilities, and there's a lot of testing that goes involved. V-Sun is one of the higher end ones. The benchmark is around, I think it's a little over 0.5% of degradation a year. Theirs is at 0.45%, doesn't even reach 0.5%. So whereas normally you're at an 85% output, but after 25 years, with these, you're basically at an 85%. I think it's 84.95%, but it's after 30 years because their degradation rate is so low. Because that they're going to give that warranty that a lot of other companies don't have.
Okay. I guess a $64,000 question, or in this case, $1.1 million question. Is that we'd have to build that? We'd have to get a loan for that, and then as we get the incentives paid back, we could pay down the loan on that? Is that how that all works? Or?
Generally speaking, yes. with smaller projects, what businesses have done in the past is they've gotten. And I'm sorry, right now, I can't lead you in the right direction on who to go for one of these loans. But the bank that I used to work with stopped doing this. Actually, they might still do it for municipalities, but they stopped doing it for commercial purposes. But they would take the SREC rebate and the federal tax rebate and credit, and they would bunch that basically into a single payment balloon loan. And then that usually had like an 18 to 24 month rate. This one, your SREC is over 25. Your power plant is basically over 25 kilowatts AC. It's 4 megawatts, significantly larger. So your SREC comes back in quarterly payments over the course of several years. This wouldn't work out in that scenario, but the remaining, whatever remains, is what you put in a monthly payment loan. That sort of becomes the municipality's new electric bill, essentially. It's just going to be an absolute fraction, even if you guys pay the 9.2% going interest rate right now, or 9.25%, or whatever it's at. That would be a fraction of what we're paying on top of that.
What kind of, you kind of covered the maintenance, what about operational? Who operates it, who makes sure, I mean, I know you talked about the internet monitoring that, but as far as, so with that, within the warranty, if something does break down, you guys come out and fix it?
Yes, within 10 years. Yeah.
Okay, so with that maintenance, is there any other type of, you know, like with a furnace, you have to change a filter or anything like that? So basically you put them in the ground and we don't touch them. We don't need a solar expert on staff that knows how they're run,
No,
make sure they're running properly.
no, I mean, they get really, I don't know what the pollen count is in that area. You know, I haven't done that environmental study or anything. But I mean, even if you had wildflowers growing underneath them, even if they get recovered in pollen, every time it rains, they get washed. If anyone has a skylight in their house, how often do you wash a skylight? And the answer is every time it rains, no one washes those. And that's the amount of, you won't see a significant amount of energy degradation from like things like pollen or just like dust and stuff on there, even if it's dusty when it's drowned. They have a 22% energy efficiency, so 22% of all light that's passing through is what's converted into energy. They also don't have a backing on them, so ambient light that comes through the back also is captured, so it has a little bit higher efficiency rate on those. You won't notice a difference. It's a little dusty. So there's no real major maintenance. I mean, you can have that, and don't get me wrong, you're more than welcome to clean them and have people clean them regularly. I wouldn't say it's necessary at all, but as far as operational day to day, the switch is on, it's pumping excess energy out the grid, and at nighttime it's being consumed by the treatment plant.
So for 30 years, and that basically we would do nothing to them.
That's like for the first 10.
No.
Because something breaks. Yeah,
Okay,
if something breaks outside of the 10-year warranty, there'd be, you know, replacement and whatnot. So that'd be about it.
okay. After year 10, is that internet monitoring still continues then to see that they're still working properly?
Yes. That is not part that I do. That would be something we set up for this. That would just be taken care of it. The internet monitoring has to be in place for 15 years for the SREC rebate. Or the other option that the village would have, if they didn't want to have that any longer, is they could do self-reporting, which means somebody would have to annually report the energy that's being done.
Is there like a software subscription for that, or what is that exactly?
Yeah, it's a phone app and a login on a computer. You know,
But that's in your figure already to be monitored for the.
Well, it doesn't cost to have the app, does it?
no, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's just, there's no monthly fees or anything like that.
I mean, he does that for all your
Yeah,
customers.
as long as there's a Wi-Fi connection or internet connection somewhere, and I mean, I'm more than happy to put repeaters out there. If there's internet there at the treatment plant already, we can just run lines. At 6 cable, we can run up to 485 feet before we're closing across. I think realistically, we can probably go almost twice that.
Is there a contract or something that assuring us that there'll be someone there for the, you say 10 years, we get the monitoring? So after 10 years, then we would have to figure out something different if we were having you do it.
Well, I can still do it, I'm just not gonna get it just free.
Okay,
Right,
but for
yeah.
10 years, it's for sure free, but then thereafter, then we would have to.
Yeah.
Pay you or figure out another way to monitor the system.
But it is a plug and play.
Well, the monitoring would still exist, that was, you'd still have the login, the apps, all that stuff, that would all be into place.
Right.
I'm just no longer gonna have a workmanship warranty that's valid after 10 years. I stand by my labor, but I can't stand by the test of time.
So you're 16, let's just say you're 16, one of them breaks,
Sure.
10-year workmanship warranty is gone.
Yeah.
And then, but it's under, but the solar panel itself has a 30-year,
Sure.
right?
Yep.
So you're 16, one of them goes south for whatever reason, we contact you, you come out and then you fix it, whatever you have to do, and we only just pay labor
That's correct.
because the panel is still under warranty for 30 years.
Correct. And that would not be much.
Have you done anything of this size for another municipality?
I have not. It's a good question. I will say that I have done, ones that are over 25 kilowatts AC. We just finished. Lanty and Cooling was 128 commercial panels. With something of that size, basically it's a matter of circuits being on circuits, and he can tell you versus, with like, just like, what's the best way to put this? With a breaker box. So each one of those circuits has to be met to a certain size with a certain amount of voltage, a certain amount of amps. And all we're doing is adding more of them, so it's just like a larger breaker panel as opposed to, you know,
It's just the same thing over and over.
it's putting a row of 60
That's all.
panels
Yeah.
over and over again. There's gonna be 16 rows of panels essentially.
And so this is 796 units, the one that you're referring to, Lance, was 128 or whatever, something that you said, is that the largest one you've done?
To date,
128?
yes, we're actually currently speccing out and working on a chemical plant that's, they do mineral chemicals. They're actually right next door to Amherst headquarters in Urbana. That one is 1,680 panels that I can work through. That being in industrial zone and privately owned and a few other things. There's a lot more things to massage through the process. And also because of the size, Hammond has to do a larger engineering study. But yes, that's in the works, has not been done.
Would this be your first municipality then?
It would be.
So we like to do things apples to apples here, if you can. So I have a format that I would like you to plug your numbers into. Over a 25-year breakout of if we do the financing, like when it pays off, and I'll show you, you can see it. It's easy for you on a spreadsheet. I can even help with that. Too. But I'll send that to you. Do you have a business card? Or an email that I can reach you at?
I do. My email would be John, JOHN @goradiant.com. I would actually should be on the front page of the proposal, but yes.
You're on here and your phone number.
I don't have an email.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, John @goradiant.
I don't think do I have that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just his phone number, but
He doesn't have an email.
I'll be happy to put it in a different format for you. It's just like an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah, and I'll be out with that. Just so we can compare it side by side, but I'll get that to you probably tomorrow morning.
Sounds good. I can knock that out pretty quick. Does anyone else have any other questions? It's like over 5 minutes, I'm sure, but.
You did a great job.
Yeah,
Thank
No,
you for coming.
uh,
Appreciate it.
yeah, we appreciate you bringing the information to us.
Absolutely. And
I was beginning to think Max had a pretend.
Question, because of it being the floodplain and potentially, you said using like 20-foot posts as opposed to 15-foot posts. In the event that you do that, then is that gonna change this number? Because you're using every post? Is how many posts are there?
I'm gonna say.
We're
off the
talking
top-
5 foot extra per
No.
post, because it is a.
Tell you exactly how many, it's,
I don't know that all of it is, but part of it is all of it? I think it is. Yeah.
this.
Because that's it. How many posts are there? Is there 4 posts per panel?
Which one at least? A 4 foot, no, there's, so the whole array would have roughly, carved out. About 220 some on posts,
Mhm.
I'll have to double check, it's about 15.
You're talking an extra 5 foot per post, I'm assuming that's gonna change this overall price. Or is it?
It's not actual. Is the pricing on that is not huge, they're just galvanized channel. So they're a couple $100 each, yeah, I think it's probably around 240 is my rough estimate of those posts. I'll double check, but it all depends on, I'll reach out to Unirac and ask in regards to the floodplain issue.
Mhm.
I mean, we want to do a site survey obviously before we move forward anyway on anything, contractually, because if there's nothing that can be done with the situation, we need to do an environmental study, floodplain, anything else, we want to make sure that that's addressed before there's any contractual agreements between any parties, so. I will get back to you on that.
Yeah, you can give that information to Joe and
Sure.
put that together.
Has the village looked into the insurance, like contacted our insurance carrier at all to see how much it would cost? Cause that would be something that, which doesn't necessarily like matter for John, but I mean that, you know, to purchase as opposed to, you know, going the other route. If we purchase it outright, we have to insure it, right? Cause we'll need liability insurance and just,
Right.
you know, so if you looked into the cost of that, I don't think that would be something we would probably consider overall.
I've only been given estimates, but I can have our insurance provider, I can give them an example of what we're looking at. And try to get them with the value, I think the value is more what they're gonna look for.
Mhm.
And see what they say, but we just gotten estimates to this point. So.
Thanks for your time. I got have you ever had any lightning strikes on the end of the fan?
I haven't, I've had some massive hail though, in fact. 5 days after I put solar on my own home, we had the golf ball size hail in Muhammad. And totally destroyed my 2-year-old roof that had 50-year like GF shingles. All 26 of my panels were completely unscathed. I had to take all of my panels down, replace my roof, and put all the same 26 panels back on my roof. In fact, when I did Farm Progress show, we actually took one of the panels down and showed everyone like this was literally through that hailstorm. Because I was big questions, hey, well, those are actually asking me to like. No, everything's grounded, so there's ground wires just like everything, like you know, buildings and whatnot. So lightning should not be a major issue, but it would still be covered through the insurance, I'm sure.
Did your insurance pay for it?
Yes. No, my homeowner's insurance, to give you guys an idea. For 26 large panels, I wouldn't quite say commercial size, anything over 500 watts is considered to be commercial. Those were like 480 watt panels that I have in my home. It's $52 a year more through country companies. Some insurance companies don't even charge more for it, so like, I'm sure they would for, you know, an acre and a half of solar panels, but I think it'll be a lot less than what you might expect.
All right, thank you. I am going to jump back up to the new business, item number 2, discussion on bid request for the sports complex. So do we have those?
We just have our hand out.
Really, you don't need to necessarily look at it even, I just feel that.
This is what you gave them to fill out.
This is what we have in the.
Oh, that's what we've had in the past.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I've seen that before, so that's just what you've sent. Yeah. Why I don't know. No, I'll need them.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, really, my question is, prior to me putting that out for bid, I wanted to see if there was any. What you have right there in front of you is just the very basic. Grass maintenance and grass treatment that we've done.
And that's
historically.
exactly what we've done in the past. Yeah.
So I'm asking before I put it out, is there any specific improvements that you would like done to those this year, so I can ask for them?
None of them include actual grass seed, it doesn't appear. I mean, who does that? Does anybody do that? I know that soccer field needs grass seed, I'm sure there's a lot of places out there that, get worn down and.
The treatments that are listed there are the soccer field is all that we've done. So if we want to add in. So what's additional seed is what you're asking? for?
Yeah, I mean, who does the village, does our public works, does anybody ever put additional grass seed down?
So the way I understand it, yes, we have, yes, but we probably put more is what it sounds like.
Do all seeds get aerated?
Yes. Yeah, and so we could add more,
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure how much we do, but I know that I've heard them. Talk about that before, but so additional or more emphasis on.
And I guess that would be the question too, if we do want additional things, then you need to decide if that's something you want to bid on. To have, one of the companies put a bid on, or is it something you want to add to the request for
I
public
guess
works?
we gotta find out if they actually do it. Yeah, I mean, if they already do it, then maybe.
Right, I
we
think
need
if
to-
somebody, or, if it was already being done, maybe it was included on here because it's already done by some.
But if it's not satisfactory, we need to make improvements to it, I guess, is what I'm trying to gather from.
Yeah, because I mean, if our guys
conversations.
aren't doing it adequately, and you see areas that you do want improvements. Maybe you got one or two choices, either get the bids on someone professional and come in and do it, or we. Work on the guys to do it in hopes that they do a better job.
Or, yeah, so we just need to add, I don't know, I'll figure out exactly how much we're doing or what we're doing, but if you want me to place more emphasis on that, I can.
That would be my only comment, that's additional
I
grass
just
seed.
feel like, I mean, with the one company, I think you'd almost have to, it wouldn't be, if you see it needs it, why don't you do it? It's gonna be, they're gonna do it X amount of times. I think if you went with one of the two companies, they would assess it and say, this looks like it needs grass. The one we normally go with, which is a lower price, I don't think he's gonna say, you need more grass seed. I think it's gonna say, June 1st, apply grass seed, or whatever. And that's just my personal opinion.
Correct.
I feel like they're just gonna do what they said they're gonna do and go
Correct,
from there.
I think that's fair,
So,
yeah. What you could do, and I did like I did last year, I've left it somewhat open to. If you wanna, if a contractor that bids on this has suggested improvements that they think that our fields could benefit from. They can include in addition to what we have asked for the recommendations, and so. You can approve it at that time if you like what they offer, so that's always an option. We are, what I was gonna talk to you guys at a later time is. On a field by field basis. Updating the lights to an LED, it's not gonna go away, and we need to do it, and we do need to do it probably in bite sizes. And so what you could do if you wanna make improvements to a field and see the difference between. What we're doing currently versus what maybe another company can offer, I would just urge you to do it on a bite-sized basis, one by one, and test it, maybe, I think that'd be a decent approach. But anyway, so if I'm hearing that we need to place more emphasis on grass seed potentially, but is there any other, if there's nothing else, then I'm just gonna proceed and I can work with them on the contractors when they submit something.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Okay, the next item is the consideration to request a waiver on, or waive on the sewer charge for the new ice machine.
If you're unfamiliar with it, it's,
Oh, yeah, so I drove by, they're really, I think it's every flags like fire.
One thing, yeah.
Apparently, they had approached us a while back. So I'm pretty sure it's the same company that does the I&I big event that they have. I think they bring in the ice and do that, but at that time, he had looked at maybe potentially putting it up by the elevator. And at that time, the elevator was kind of in no man's land as far as who owned it and, you know, who would even get the permission to do it. So apparently he's talked to Kelso and has come up with some kind of an arrangement with Kelso on his property.
it's a good location for it.
It is, not right out in the open.
It's a very unique, we don't have another. We don't have another. When we get a bill from American Water, we bill it. And that's basically, that's what we do. We don't have another customer that is not physically connected to our sewer system. So there's no mechanism in your ordinance for staff to waive this fee. This is more of a, this is your policy decision on their argument. Mr. Solar's argument would be that they're not adding anything to the sewer system. That's his argument.
Is that true?
They are not connected.
Okay.
You know, but another point of view that you could look at, and I'm not making a case either way. But another way you can look at it is that you're charging the utility fees also for what's not currently connected, but what could be connected in the future. That additional infrastructure and stuff. So it's totally your call. There's no, I don't have a recommendation or an opinion. This is a unique circumstance, and I don't think we're going to encounter it again. Every other one that we have at least puts gray water into the system. So anyway, it's.
I mean, I think he makes a good point that it's not hooked up to the sewer, and with the way the bills went up, I can see that being a complaint of a business owner that one expense he may want to get rid of.
How do they have to, then, they have a way to do it, or they don't have a way to do it?
It's metered.
Okay.
It's metered through American Water, so he's using water.
Okay.
It's just, it's not.
We just looking at the bill from the village, right?
Right.
I don't have a problem with that.
But he's still, I mean, he still pays for his water until
Right.
American.
But unless you waive this, he will get a bill from the village.
Right, that's what
So,
we're,
yeah, that's what you're deciding, that's what you're just.
it's basically being treated like if we have an outdoor meter for watering our lawn or whatever, right? And we bring that in and then it doesn't get charged for those.
Yeah, technically speaking, I mean, that's what he could have done if we didn't waive his
Yeah,
charge.
there's,
And
Go
get it
on
on
everything is,
Yeah,
but. I'm not sure.
In the interim, I've got no problem waiving the fee because he's not using the service. It's something to be considered. Think about, let's just say if any of the other businesses should advance to something like that, where they got one water bill. How are you gonna credit how much water goes through that as opposed to the rest of their store?
I don't think, I mean, this is, to me, this is a standalone, and I wouldn't, if it was the IGA added this to their thing, I would say you're still paying the sewer bill. You know, I'm just saying this is a standalone, he doesn't have another business there.
Well, it might be something considered that if you had something like that, it might have to be on a separate meter if you're looking for something like that.
he will be on a separate meter than Kelso's.
Mhm.
So that will be addressed, but whenever we get the file from American Water, it's just gonna have a list of those billed within the village, and we just send it out. So
So I'm just making that aware for the future, because I can see how something like this could proliferate to other places. So, something to keep in mind.
well, if you're all okay with it, I would like a motion to do
I'll make a motion to waive this So,
I'll second it.
Painter,
Yes.
Wolfensberger,
Yes.
Cummings. Yes. Rath,
Yes,
Page,
yes.
Valley,
Yes.
6-0.
Joe, do you have any additional updates for us this evening? Mark?
You have my report on the agenda.
I was gonna ask you real quick, just to update, with the church property. Has all that been completed or,
So I paid the other lawyer. And I think we recorded everything, so yeah, I think it's done.
officially it's been closed on then?
Yeah, what had happened was the other lawyer just sent me the stuff and that was signed and said, hold it. Well, you get approval from the church, from the city, and I did, and so we went ahead and recorded it, so you're
Okay,
the owner,
okay, cause yeah, I was talking to the daughter.
I see.
And so she apparently.
It was kind of a gray area and never kind of heard any feedback from anywhere.
Yeah. and
I
that's what she
apologize
was
for
kinda-
that.
Wasn't sure what the status was on that, and, cause I was asking about, key exchange, or, getting the keys and stuff. And they still had a few things in there they wanted to get out, and, cause I had told her, that wouldn't be any problem.
You know,
Got like a piano and a couple of larger things to.
that's no problem. Somebody will get it out for you.
Yeah, but anyway, so I told her, I said, well, you would probably be here tonight, I would just confirm that, so.
yeah,
But yeah, she was more than happy, to get us the key, so I'll work with her, or we'll get the. I think it was her dad's desk and a couple of bigger items that they wanted to get out yet, I told her that would be fine, so.
okay,
So yeah, I don't know if the attorney just needs to give them a call back and maybe talk with the daughter, maybe not the dad.
I'll send an email to the lawyer tomorrow and say, hey, just reconfirm this stuff got recorded, you might double check, let your client know that.
Yeah, and make sure they understand where we're at, so, and I just talked to her, I thought, they're in the middle of, basketball season right now, that her husband helps coach and things. So I told her maybe, later in the spring, we would have them come to a meeting and we could formally do a nice little presentation, thanking them for the donation and that sort of thing, so, she'd act like that would be fine too, so. But that was the only question I had for you. Mike,
Okay.
so,
Got a question on that same subject. At what point do we go ahead and get the utilities switched over? This time of year, we need to be cognizant of that.
We should switch them over as of about a month ago. So
We'll handle that out, we'll figure that out.
I just
yeah,
wanna
get
make
it switched over, then we probably ought to reimburse them for that difference.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
whatever, just so the pipes don't freeze up.
Are we certain that the utilities are still on, that they didn't turn them off? To get them out of.
we're gonna find all that out and make sure it's okay, yeah.
Impending weather, like
Yeah.
you said, especially make sure that they're on.
Yeah, I don't think they were aware, so I think they're still practicing.
And the only reason that I asked is, and I didn't go back and follow up on it, but I saw somebody had posted on Facebook asking a question about how, the lights from the church used to kind of illuminate across, Main Street when they would walk, and they were asking why it's so dark there and the lights aren't on anymore. And I didn't go back and see if
I thought
anybody ever
that was
commented on it.
talking about the Christmas lights that were.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
what
that
that
was-
was, yeah.
I think we were talking about,
Yeah.
so I think they like the idea of Christmas lights.
Oh, I thought they were talking about the lights. Church. Oh, the lights. Wait,
Yes.
they were off for a while. Because.
Well, like the ornamental lamp light is still out.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
one by our decorative light is still out.
One light,
Well, it's got two globes.
It's like a lamp post looking like. this.
on which, I guess on which corner of the four-way are you
In
talking?
front of Country Insurance.
They just finished up that work there, so all, they had that, curb exposed for a while, so I'll double check with that.
Yeah, cause it was still out
It's like
tonight.
Southwest.
When I
Southwest.
come over too, so. Tiffany, do you have anything tonight?
No.
No? Okay, Public Works will have their report in our packet next meeting. I don't really have any updates for this evening that I can think of off the top of my head. I'm probably forgetting something, but. I spoke with the senior group yesterday and promoted our community a little more, just. They had asked me to speak, and so I went and of course went and bragged about St. Joe for the morning, so. It's always a good opportunity to do that, but other than that, it's been pretty quiet through the holidays. So trustees, do you have anything to bring?
Yes, I'd like to see the village start subscribing to the newspaper, the Gazette. There's different times you got a legal notice, and maybe not directly affecting the village, but maybe a drainage district or something that could affect the village, and those legal notices, just check them out. I mean, there's one there, I brought a copy for Joe, that's the Salt Fork in another area. You know, maybe you can't attend the meeting, but if there was something that could, just be aware of it. You know, it's one thing to have a legal notice directly affect, but on the other, and this way it gives everybody a chance to do the crossword puzzle. So just go ahead and subscribe to the paper.
Yeah, because I said a lot of our notices that affect us directly, we have to get a
You
written
get a
notice.
copy, yeah, you get a copy.
Yeah,
But what if, okay, they're working on the Salt Fork up there, and something you're talking about how it affects working the tree removal. The two might be intertwined in some way. At least gives you an opportunity to go ahead and reach out, find out the information, or even attend the meeting where you ask the question. You know, I
I think the
mean,
notices are available online for free, aren't they?
I could tell you. If I gotta look online for notice, it's not gonna be found.
And that's how I am with the paper, like, I'm not.
and we want to double check if those notices, I mean, because we're just getting it for the notices and we can get it online.
Well, there's other things, you see different things that affect the village, in an article, if you want to put it, things that could be aware of, or
I
something.
think it's a good idea. I mean, if you have somebody rummage through it, there might be something that jumps out at
We've
you.
got art.
I would occasionally.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not a big, if you all want me to get a subscription, I'm happy to. It's not uncommon to have a subscription to the paper of record that you use for your public business. So like whenever I put something in for planning and zoning, I get a proof from them, but you can go in and verify, you know, that it's in there. Or, you know, but it doesn't matter. If you all want it, I'll do it. If you don't, I won't. It doesn't matter either way.
I don't think it's that big a cost. If nothing else, try it for a year and see.
So do you all want me to do that?
I'm I think you should do it.
Okay. You just need a straw poll vote?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking, yeah, that's what I'm looking.
Yes, how's that? Make a motion to get a subscription that is that and have it delivered here. At least for a year.
I'll second.
So there's two. Does anybody else have?
Nora, can she give us a discount?
Probably.
I think it's about $100 for an annual subscription. We still get it, and it's, yeah.
I guess my question is the expectation then that somebody's gonna be reading it daily, and does somebody?
He's all over his finger.
Yeah, I did want it for the crossword puzzle.
The cost is one thing, I just didn't know, if, like, I hate to buy it for it to sit there if nobody really has.
Right.
Actually, so read. But if you have the time and it's their dedicated job, we go through the paper to see if anything pertains. Then.
Well, it's like anything with a habit. I don't think it immediately everybody can pick it up, but you got several sets of eyes to look at. If there was a notice, let's say on a foreclosure on a property, that or something that, anything like that, that might come into consideration, you need to look at it. I look at things, if I see if it's St. Joe or the description of the property, I glance at it. If I don't do it regular, after the fire, I quit taking the paper. You know, it's just too many things going on to not read the paper. So I pick one up occasionally, not for the crossword puzzle, but I look at those other things. But there are other articles that are germane to St. Joe. So try it for 3 months then, you know, just see if it doesn't work out, drop it.
I and that's my only thing too. I would be concerned if someone physically does read it and pays attention to it, or if it's just gonna pile up in a corner in the office and then.
Then you got something.
Then I request that we bring in the recycling down to the animal hospital because they're always needing newspapers, so that's where we bring ours, but we're done. I can always recycle and bring mine here, drop it off, and then as long as it gets to the animal hospital at the end of the day, that's all.
That's true. Seriously, I can bring mine, then you wouldn't have to pay for it.
So are you doing it or not? But yeah, I mean, it's. As long as it gets read, is my only thought, so.
I really, either way, if it's there, I'll look at it. If it's not, I'm not gonna be like upset. So, you know, either, I'm not able to help you on which way to go. on this.
And you're gonna be the one that's tasked with scouring through it?
Well, I will look at it if it's there for, make sure our publications are there, just because I'm that type of guy, but.
Yes, then if you're gonna wait.
But if it's not there, I don't really worry about it either. It's one less thing. So the print delivery costs.
You know who's gonna deliver.
Nora,
No.
I can't.
So.
that's just that he's gonna complain to you about his tire every time.
One month is $22, 3 months is 66, 6 months is 132, and 12 months is 264. So,
So are you just wanting the paper delivered here?
I was
Say you're-
gonna say,
That's what he doesn't deal with it. He's not picking up and I see something like right here, it had about the saw fork and the middle fork and all that, and I look at that, I don't know if that really pertains to us or not, but I know nobody saw it. And so it gives you opportunity that's here, there's 3 sets of eyes here or more that could look at it.
just say you can get it and go home.
Yeah.
well, it's 2-1, so is that, I have 2 yes, 1 no?
Say that, then you know what to do it.
Okay, all right, I'll get.
I make a motion that we're finished. Can I say that?
Yes.
Second.